Define a table in 1 or 2 sentences. Well, it's a flat wooden plane that has 4 legs and it holds things. All right, well, what if it has 5 legs? Is that a table?
Getting ready to cause some harm our way, I think. I like.
Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. Ghost is still being a hamster. I mean, he moves slowly because he's not getting a ton of air. He's still struggling, he's breathing through his mouth while he's sleeping, and rodents don't like to do that. So he's doing as well as he can, and I'm doing my best to keep him as comfortable and happy and warm with the space heater on at night. So here's hoping that he either gets better or doesn't suffer. Oy vey. Last night, I actually slept pretty good. That's definitely a thumbs up. One of the problems, again, that I don't sleep well is I don't move when I sleep. And if you don't move, it gets uncomfortable. So that wakes me up. And I don't sleep long because of that, so thumbs up. But of course, front-loading of videos, hey, if you could toss me a like, that'd be cool. If you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be awesome. If you could leave me a comment, that would be double plus good. And I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These literally beautiful and literally awesome people help to keep me and my pets alive. That is very, very cool. If you would like to be like one of these beautiful, awesome people, did I say that correctly? Beautiful and awesome people, and help to keep me and my pets alive. I can't remember how long I'm supposed to keep my hands in there. I have links in my video description. There's also links to a PayPal, and of course an Amazon wishlist link, and my post office box, so you can send me anything from postcards to keychains. I'll show them off in video if they show up. Thumbs up for that. Front-loading of videos over, yay! One of the things I talked about yesterday, how I kept hearing things and going downstairs to look, and I intimated that it could be me, but I don't remember doing it. I don't know why I didn't just come out and say, yeah, that sort of thing. If you are suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning, you will do weird things like that. You will do things you don't remember. So it's like someone came into your house and is doing things. Carbon monoxide poisoning is terrible. It can cause all sorts of issues. And it's not heavier than air like carbon dioxide. In fact, slightly lighter than air. So it mixes in thoroughly with the atmosphere you are breathing. I don't know, because my window is always open. So there's air that comes in, real air. My bedroom window is open, and I have a fan pulling in air from outside and bringing it inside, and then I have fans in the hall that blow air and circulate that. So there's fresh air, and the air is being moved around and quite frequently blowing through and going this way. So I don't know. I honestly don't know if carbon monoxide can accumulate in a room like I am in right now with circulation. So, also, this is like the first time that's happened here. So, I don't know. When I lived in Bellingham, Washington in the mid-90s, I had weird stuff like that happen all the time though. There was one time I was up in my bedroom, 2nd floor, and I heard and felt the front door open and shut. And I thought, hey, my roommate just came home for lunch. And I heard and felt footsteps go across the living room. I heard and felt him come up the stairs. And I heard and felt his door open and shut. So I got up and came out of my bedroom to go talk to him. And the house was dark and silent. Nothing had happened. I always had stuff like that happening in that house. That was also downtown and an ancient house. So I am quite sure that it was filled with extreme low frequency sounds, because we had housemates come and go. And during that time, a lot of the people that came and went said it feels like it's oppressive, like something is watching, there's something here. So extreme low frequency sound must have filled that house. Again, it was a downtown Bellingham house, and it was near some major roadways. And Bellingham is a college town, and during that time of year there's lots of traffic, and extreme low frequency sound will do that to you, so thumbs up. Past that, let me take a look at my list here and see what else that I have. Oh yes, oh my god. I've done 2 solo RPG playthroughs now on Dungeon Blitz. I have messed up so badly. My first time character should not have died. And my second time character, even though I've done fine and I'm doing really well, should have been doing a lot better. I forgot that you have to add your stat to your roll when you do a combat. Just like any test, which is you take your stat, modify your die roll by your stat. I have an attack of 3. I should have been adding 3 to every one of my die rolls. I should have been stomping on the monsters. I won easily, but it should have been even more easy. So it's going to be a lot better in the next playthrough, which will hopefully be today. Thumbs up for that. Also, one of the things I wanted to talk about is there is a right-wing, alt-wing grifter, Matt Wagner, who has come out with a documentary about trans people and going up to actual biologists and stuff and saying, can you define what is a woman? And then editing the things to make them look crazy because they can't just give a simple 1 or 2 sentence phrase defining what a woman is. But the thing is, as this other channel pointed out, this TikToker had, he points out you cannot define anything in 1 or 2 simple statements. After all, define a table in 1 or 2 sentences. Well, it's a flat wooden plane that has 4 legs and it holds things. All right, well, what if it has 5 legs? Is that a table? Well, yeah, it's still a table. Well, now, so it's any number of legs it has, and it's a table, right? 10 legs, 15 legs? How about 25 legs? Is that still a table? I've seen tables with 25 legs. Are they tables? Well, okay. Now you can't just say it's that. It has to be any number of legs. Well, I have a step stool in my bedroom. You know, it's this big. It's got 4 legs. It's a livable area. Is that a table? Is the table a step stool? Because they're both flat planes with 4 legs. Well, now you got a problem because you can't define the table that way because you're also defining step stools. So you have to try and do, well, it's a table because it does this and it's being used in the function that you have a table. And suddenly you're being very awkward trying to define just what a table is. You can't define things down. What's a shoe? A covering that goes on your foot. Oh, so if I put a plastic bag on my foot, is that a shoe? If I put a sock on my foot, is a sock a shoe? Oh no, it has to have a hard sole. Oh, so if I have a plastic bag that I have stapled to a piece of wood and I put my foot in that, is that a shoe? You're being very disingenuous when you try to show people, oh, they're crazy, they can't define what X is. Try it. Have people ask you questions about, well, what's this? Well, what about this? And you'll find that you can rarely define anything. So thumbs up for that. And of course, I've got therapy today, so that's a good thing. I mean, it is. I do like therapy on the whole. I get to talk things out, I get to talk about the problems and the positives in my life. And as my therapist has said, you don't always have to talk out issues. Sometimes a good therapy session is just having a pleasant conversation. Because you sometimes just need that. And I tend to talk around a subject so that I define the thing that's bothering me. You can notice it by the edges of its absence and the things that I'm bringing around, so that when I finally bring up the thing I want, it fits into that puzzle piece. You've already known what I'm talking about, even though I haven't brought it up yet. So, thumbs up for that. But I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff, and that'll be good. Yay! Now, let me taking a look at my list here. I have that's just about it for the non-creative talking stuff. I want to talk more about the creative stuff on the inside, outside, razor's edge, encrypted stuff. I periodically go through and remember to keep fresh in my head and to recontextualize what is happening with characters, since things are moving and changing. It's not a static picture in time that I'm trying to define with my setting. It is a moving, living thing that gets changed by context. That's one of the reasons that it's taking a while to do things, because especially with my cryptid stuff, knowing that they are being whipsawed by changes and changes that are happening around the world, I have to contextualize that so it makes sense to me and my setting. Like really quick with the cryptid stuff, there is local and there is generalized, more macro philosophies and such. Religions, worldwide religions, or religions that cover, huge portions of a population. Local myth becomes a part of major myth, and major myth has incorporated all these little tiny pieces of local myth. Cryptids are changed and altered by every single bit of this. Local culture defines what happens with local cryptids. Major cultural things define what happens with cryptids in a larger area. And then, of course, worldwide views define cryptids in general as well. Now that there's the internet and everybody has access to almost everything, fears, hopes, dreams, and such are becoming globalized instead of localized, and this is starting to whipsaw all the urban cryptids highly as well. But going back to the whole inside-outside razor's edge stuff, there is an incident I'm trying to figure out how to bring up, because I want the narrative and the project to start fast, but you need a little bit of exposition before it goes into the whole kaiju devouring 12,000 people. But one of the things that happens is the tiny town of Abarnathe, which is not spelled the way you'd think, but it's still Abarnathe. And they are just a fairly small type of commune, families coming together, growing crops, and figuring out and developing trade routes so that they can get what they need, they can trade with others, and they are really, really happy because they have just gotten a contract with the Crimson Kingdom, electronically signed by the King in Crimson themselves. This is going to put Abarnathe on the map. And unfortunately it does, just not in the way that they're thinking, because in that area there is a being that doesn't know what it is. It is a vegetable intelligence. It doesn't know that it's a vegetable intelligence. When it expresses its intelligence in the outside world, it thinks that's its body. And then when it goes back to sleep, it's back into its vegetable sleeping and very slow, long thoughts. But what happens is, it is summoned by domesticated crops, farming. When it hits a certain amount, it manifests, because by this point it is ground into its nature. And so it arrives, it has to now devour X number of people and then go back to sleep. When it first started this, the very first time that people arrived and started growing crops there, it showed up, started murdering, ate the corpses, and thought it was bloody awesome. It loved it. And so it went back to sleep to wait for the next crew. Power and repetition is dangerous on the razor's edge. That will grind in behaviors. And so that has become the modus operandi that it cannot escape from, whether it wants to or not. But it has lived for so long that it is desperate just to stop. The first 50,000 times that it showed up, killed, ate, and then went back to sleep, it loved it. It didn't want it to end. The next 50,000 times, it was getting a little bit like dry, repetition. The next 50,000 times, it was starting to get desperately bored And that was hundreds of millions of years ago. Now, to be fair, it has not been awake during much of this. It has been sleeping longer and longer and hibernating longer and longer. So those hundreds of millions of years, it has not been awake through all of those. But it has woken and had to eat before it can go back to sleep for so many millions of times. All pleasure has been ripped out of its existence through sheer repetition. There is literally nothing new under the sun for this creature. Everything is done before. Eating has had all the pleasure stripped from it. Killing has all the pleasure stripped from it. Even existing is just torture. It cannot, because of habit that is ground in, kill those who have really super expressed genes like Ol Ray and others like that. Normal people on the razor's edge, it must devour. When it wakes up, there are a certain number of people in a circumference that it has to eat before it can go back to sleep. And as it says, and this is sort of a speech that I like to think of, that they say to define what their feelings are, whether or not you actually see this in the story. But this creature wants to just sleep its long, slow sleep and dream its long, deep dreams until it finally fades out into oblivion. It just wants to rest, to let go, to stop living, to just die. And this last time it was sleeping, it actually saw death emerging from the shadows. And death noticed the beast. And death was beautiful and so alluring. And death walked up to them and reached out a welcoming hand, and the beast reached out their own hand to take it, and their fingers almost touched when they felt the leash yank, and they were pulled back into the shadows, and the last they saw of death was their stricken face, and that hand reached out and welcomed now in desperation, reaching out to something lost. And then the new body was formed, and the beast is awake again. And it must eat before it can sleep, and hope that this time it can just fade out into oblivion, embrace death, and finally be allowed to just die. End of Open Up 24 Hours. For the comments on my community tab, going to go through and thank however many people have left in comments in the past 24 hours. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended, and even though I can't American Sign Language, we have Adrian FNTES. Oh my gosh, that quest that I'm on that you said is a pain and difficult. If you have any tips at all, I would not mind them at all. Thank you. There is Nostalgic, thumbs up and thank you. Sharon Collis, and I am very sorry that your dad died when you were 7. Hokey smokes. We have Jesse Koskinen, always good to see you in the comments, and I had Oblivion for the 360 first. I never really played it much because I was married, my wife was dying, and I had severe ADHD, but at least I had it. And there is a full story on that's the duck head of scorn. The horse head is the horse head of encouragement. The pig is the pig of mockery, and the lobster head is an ancient artifact of power. Quite a story behind them. We have Simon Peters, thumbs up and thank you. There's Flora Mew, always good to see you in the comments, and yes, you were correct. I don't know why I just danced around carbon monoxide instead of just saying it. Tommy Nelson, thumbs up and thank you. Chris, always good to see you, thumbs up, thank you very, very much. Jacob Sheber, thumbs up, thank you much. There is unbearable suffering. who has a very, very good observation about the goofiness of the Elder Scrolls. Ice Damon, thumbs up, good to see you. Ben B, thumbs up and good to see you as well. RJ Mitchell, thumbs up, thank you very, very much. And that is it. 13 people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. Greatly appreciated. Get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people. Thumbs up for that. Well, Hokey Smokes, as stated, I got therapy today. I gotta still call my genetic father. As much as yesterday was not a bad day, I did have a ton of executive dysfunction and couldn't do the things that I wanted to do. So hopefully today I can get that done. That would be awesome. Hopefully you can get done the things that you want to get done, and if not, just go into survival mode. And of course, if you've watched this far, thank you so very much. It is appreciated. Nobody forces you to watch. The vast majority of people that do watch click off even before a minute and a half goes by. So if you do watch this far, thank you so very much. And of course, with all the diseases and injuries and illnesses in the world, just take appropriate precautions for your situation and location. Although, if you come across that bus that's got your name on it, you are going to get smeared, like it or not. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is a very good thing.